Hi everyone, welcome back to the Stitches and Scribbles channel. My name is Erin and today I am organizing my yarn stash. This is something that I've been meaning to do for a while. I feel like while I love having these cabinets for yarn storage, I feel like I shove things in there and forget what I have. So the goal of today is to create a more usable system for storing my yarn, and also to avoid having like random scraps of yarn floating in and among everything else. Right now, I know especially my blanket yarn is really hard to manage because I have some full skeins, but most of it is partial skeins in like little scrap balls. And every time I open the cabinet, they like roll all over the place. So I would like to fix that situation so that I can get to the yarn that's behind it. And I have kind of a multi-layered plan of attack for this. First of all, you can see I have a stack of mostly Christmas gift bags behind me. And that is because I save all of my gift bags and reuse them. But right now our collection is fairly large. We don't really need to save that many. So using them as temporary storage for some yarn that then can be added back into the collection when they're done sounds like a good idea. So I have a stack of those. I also have sticky notes, and I have special sticky notes where more of the sticky note is adhesive than on a normal one, so they stay much better. So the plan is to go through my yarn collection and separate out any yarns first that are meant for specific projects. I have pretty much planned my content for the whole year. Obviously things might change, but I have at least like one project a month that I could film set aside. And for all of those, I know that I already have the yarn ready for them. So that's really nice. But I want to make sure that that yarn is easy to find when I need it. So that's going to be the first kind of round, is going through all of the yarn and separating out yarn that's for specific projects and labeling them with the pattern name or the concept name, depending on what it is. And those are going to end up being in front of my yarn cabinets. My second tier of organization is to then sort out yarn that is the quantity for a specific type of item. So like a blanket's worth of a certain type of yarn or a sweater's worth of a certain type of yarn that doesn't really have a specific project in mind for it yet. It's more just there's enough of it to do something a little bigger, and set those aside and give them bags with labels as well. And then the final round of this will be sorting yarn by type. So like all of my sock yarn, all of my blanket yarn, all of my worsted weight budget acrylic will be sorted by category, so that if I'm reaching for, you know, blanket yarn to make a plushie, or even like a scrap dusting cloth or something like that, I know which bag to reach for those kind of like more random types of yarn. So I'm going to start by pulling everything out from under here. I have a whole big list of podcasts ready for today, and beverages, snacks, good music, all that stuff. So I am just going to get into the cleaning. Okay, I can already tell that this was a great idea because I'm finding so many little yarn scraps or random things that I forgot I had. I forgot that in my laundry room I had started a collection of like natural fiber scraps, so it's where all my cotton scraps were, but there was also this yarn, which I know is like an alpaca cotton blend. I used this to make a really fancy shawl for our church auction, and I saved the extras. I had like one full skein plus a little bit left from making the project, and I don't want to get rid of this because it was really, really nice yarn. But I also found some old merino yarn in black, and I'm thinking I can hold them double and make a pair of really nice warm mittens to go with my wool dress coat, which is also black. And I probably wouldn't have found this for another couple years if I hadn't gone through my stash. So that's really awesome. The other thing that I keep finding is colorways that I want to make Sophie scarves or ponytail hats in. If you've been watching my channel for the last few months, I did a crochet ponytail hat and a knit ponytail hat. I also just made a Sophie scarf for my mom. And I realized that at some point I like cleaned out a lot of my hats and beanies that I had made for myself, and like while my hair was really long I wore it up a lot, so a hat wasn't, either a ponytail hat was needed, or if I had like something braided on the back of my neck I didn't want a hat. So the Sophie scarf is like a really good fit for days like that. So I'm just finding so many more little things that I want to make by diving through my stash. I just finished sorting and caking all of my blanket yarn. This stuff hasn't seen the light of day since I stopped doing craft fairs. There's so much of it. So if you've gotten this far in the video, tell me what I should do with it. Right now my only thought is to hold on to it for making plushies for friends who are having kids, or to use it to make replacement Swiffer covers for mops, or like Swiffer style mops, because mine only came with one and some extras would be good, and I have no idea what else to do with it, so please let me know. Alright, we got another progress update here. So my remaining kind of project quantity bags are over here. The ones on the counter are all the ones I have to decide what to do with. Most of them are sweater quantities or more, and most of them are these kind of yarn cakes. But I have all of my projects for the year and a little bit beyond down here so that they're kind of ready to go. Although I do have to move this pretty carefully to make sure that the, oh my gosh, it's stuck. There we go. So that the bags don't tip over inside the cabinet. The other change I made is I have these white bins sitting out on the counter. These were storage things inside the cabinets before, and they currently won't fit if I put all of the project bags in there. So I'm going to use them kind of as a staging area for yarn that's going to be used in videos. So you get a little bit of a sneak peek of some of my upcoming things. I also have my birthday yarn bag right in the middle because I will be doing a birthday cast on this year. And I left the whole bag out because I'm not entirely sure what I want to do for my birthday cast on yet. But I consider birthday yarn to be anything that has both lime green and purple in it for the project, just because those are the colors that I associate with my birthday. So that's why there's a random bag in the middle, but ideally, starting fairly soon, it'll be just those 3 bins out there. I'm also kind of reorganizing the shelves and deciding what I really want on display. You can see I made room for some of my little creatures and knickknacks and dolls on the first level, as well as my crocheted fairy wings, and I'm gonna keep reorganizing the top. I've also been clearing out some yarn. The yarn that I have gotten rid of is any partial skeins of budget acrylic, because I already have an acrylic scrap basket that is full, and it's full of colors that I do enjoy working with. So any that were still kind of randomly in the cabinet or in my laundry room, I decided to donate. I did keep a couple of full skeins of budget acrylic. This is kind of my other staging area now, where it's sorting yarn by type. So I have my big cotton bag, I have my big sock yarn bag, and I have my scrubby acrylic bag. Back there are some yarns I got at Old World, Wisconsin. And then these are my remaining full skeins of budget acrylic, which I do use sometimes for tutorials, but I tend to reach for scrap yarn now more often than anything else. And I do have a section of baby yarn to go through and a section of Christmas yarn to go through. So I think I'm going to take a break to run some errands with my mom and maybe grab some dinner, and I'll come back later tonight or tomorrow to finish this up. I finally finished sorting all of my yarn this morning, and I'm really happy with the final result. I did have a couple things that didn't quite fit the way I wanted them to, so my blanket quantities of yarn and my Christmas yarn are actually going to be stored in my laundry room until I can get through a couple of projects and put them back where they belong. But I really like that even if I can't see all of the yarn, I know what's in each bag, which I think will make it easier to pull out projects in the future. I also was really surprised that I liked, I can't figure out which way to point, this setup over here with having my scheduled projects sitting out on the counter. I get excited about projects if I can kind of see them, so I'm hoping that that will kind of like build the anticipation to work on them, and they won't quite seem as daunting when I do finally get to filming those videos, so I'm excited to have those out on the counter. The other thing I noticed when doing this is that it actually forced me to go through all of my yarn and all of my like random baskets of things that were sitting around, which I think was really good. I did end up donating quite a bit of yarn, mostly any like random scrap balls that I couldn't figure out what kind of yarn it was. Things like cotton scraps I generally kept, and acrylic scraps in colors that I liked I also kept, just because those are things I reach for fairly frequently when I do tutorials. And I'm also working on two acrylic scrap blankets right now. So I knew that those types of scraps would get used kind of in the near future, or at least be like part of a project that's getting them used. But anything that was like a weird novelty yarn or something where I couldn't identify what the fiber content was, I went ahead and put in the donation bin. It did clear out one of my boxes of like all random Christmas crafts, and now it can be storage for all the Christmas craft things that are not yarn related, which I think will be really good. But overall, I kind of like this system. I'm hoping to keep it moving forward, and I'm hoping that this will also encourage me to not buy more yarn without a specific project in mind. Obviously, I'll leave exceptions for things like custom dyed yarn for like local yarn stores if we go anywhere in the next year or so, or like, I guess, specialty yarns, because I do like going to local yarn stores to get supplies for projects, and since that kind of is up in the air of what kind of stuff they're going to have, I'm not going to like completely say that I'm on a yarn ban, but I'm hoping to drastically decrease my stash this year instead of increasing it, because I have definitely reached my storage space capacity. But I hope this inspired you to go through your stash, maybe figure out some things that you can toss or things that you would like to keep and put in a more special place. I do really like that I was able to display some yarns up here still. I tried to pick things that were all single skeins or specialty yarns, but then I had some space down here for some of my little trinkets, and there are a couple skeins of yarn on that bottom shelf as well. But I hope this inspired you to do the same. Really kind of take stock of what you've got, plan out some projects for the year, and just really be excited to work in your craft space, whatever that may look like. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw today, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. And if you want to follow me on other social media platforms, that information is in the description box. Thanks again so much for watching. Happy New Year's, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.